At 34 years old, this is still nearly impossible for me to talk about. That's why I'm writing it here, like this. Removed, indirect. It's easier this way. Less personal. It happened in the summer of 1998. I was 10. My parents were both working professionals. My mom was an accountant, my dad a mechanical engineer. We lived in a tight-knit suburb in upstate New York, in one of those neighborhoods where the mailboxes all matched and every dad mowed the lawn on Saturday morning. I was their only child, unless you count Max, our aging golden retriever who mostly just laid by the heater and slept. I was used to routine, and that summer was supposed to be just like the last. Lazy mornings, cereal-fueled afternoons, and occasional backyard adventures. My regular sitter, Tasha, a college student who had watched me every summer since I was 6, had finally graduated. She got a full-time job and moved 3 states away. My parents scrambled to find someone new and eventually landed on a service that connected local teens with families looking for summer help. My mom filled out the forms and crossed her fingers. That's how we ended up with Lena. She was 17, a junior at the local high school I would eventually attend. She came from across town, a place with slightly older houses and unkempt sidewalks. The day she arrived, she showed up early. Too early. My mom hadn't even left for work yet. She came up the walkway in a faded hoodie and jeans, carrying nothing but a small canvas backpack. She was pale and quiet, with jet black hair that framed her face like curtains. My mom welcomed her in. I stood behind her, sizing Lena up like a kid does when facing a stranger in their territory. Lena smiled politely, but didn't say much. My mom whispered something about me needing to be polite, and that Lena would be around all summer. I didn't like it, but I kept quiet. I was already trying to prove I could stay home alone. I wanted space, not a new chaperone. Lena didn't ask a lot of questions that first day. She just sat at the dining table, reading from a spiral notebook and occasionally glancing out the window. I played my Game Boy on the couch, sneaking looks at her. She didn't smile much. She didn't fidget. Just sat and watched. "Can I go to Brandon's house?" I asked her that afternoon. "Does your mom let you?" she replied. "Yeah." She nodded without looking up. "Go then." I left. I stayed out until I saw my dad's car turn onto our street. My mom asked how it went. I told her it was fine. Lena was quiet. That was all. By the 3rd day, she started asking more personal questions. "Do you ever see ghosts?" she asked. I laughed. "No." "My mom says I used to," she said. "Said I'd talk to people who weren't there." "Were you scared?" "Not really," she replied. "But they stopped coming. Maybe they got bored." That day, she asked me if I wanted to play a game. She said it was called the Mirror House. I didn't get it. She drew a floor plan on a napkin and said I had to pretend that none of the reflections in the mirrors were real, and every time I passed one, I had to say, "Not me." At first, it was funny. I ran from room to room shouting, "Not me," like an idiot. But Lena didn't laugh. She followed me closely, repeating it under her breath, more and more quietly, until I couldn't tell if she was still playing or talking to herself. I told my mom that night I thought Lena was weird. "Weird how?" she asked, distracted by a work email. "I don't know, just Weird. Define weird, Noah. But I couldn't. Not yet. The next day, Lena brought a photo with her, a worn Polaroid-style picture. It showed a girl who looked like her but smaller, maybe 5 or 6. "That's me," she said, "and that's my brother." "You have a brother?" "I did." "What happened?" "He left." I asked if she missed him. "All the time," she said. "He looked just like you." I didn't like that. Later that afternoon, while I was making a sandwich, Lena stood behind me in the kitchen. "If someone told you you were living someone else's life, would you believe them?" "What do you mean?" She paused. "Never mind." Things got worse after that. On the 5th day, I woke up to find her in the hallway outside my room, just standing there, not knocking, not calling for me, just there. "You talk in your sleep," she said when she noticed me. "What?" "Names, places, stuff you couldn't know." I locked the door after that. The next week, I begged my parents to let me stay at Brandon's house during the day. They said no. My mom promised Lena had passed every background check and that I was safe. That Friday, Lena took me for a walk. She said she had something to show me. I didn't want to go, but she said it was close. We ended up behind the old community center, near the woods that were fenced off for environmental recovery. No one went back there. Not since that fire years ago. She led me to a burned-out clearing where only a rusted mailbox and some crumbling bricks remained. "This used to be my house," she said. I didn't say anything. "My mom died here. I wasn't supposed to be home." She sat down on the scorched foundation and pulled the photo out again. "This is all that's left." I felt something shift in the air. "I think you're him," she said. "Who?" "My brother." "That's not possible. You're just him again. You don't remember because they changed your name, your face." She got up and walked toward me. "But I remember." I ran. She didn't chase me, but she didn't need to. Something about her voice followed me home. That night, I couldn't sleep. My parents noticed. I told them I was scared of Lena. My mom sighed. "She's just a teenager, Noah. Probably dealing with some tough stuff. Don't be dramatic." Monday morning, I pretended to be sick. My parents didn't believe me but let me stay in my room while Lena kept an eye on me. I locked my door. 2 hours later, the lock clicked open. I didn't even know it could do that from the outside. Lena stepped in. "You left the mirror house," she said, holding a roll of masking tape and a pair of scissors. I backed into the corner. "You're not supposed to leave," she whispered. "You're supposed to stay until it resets." She lunged at me. I screamed. My neighbor, Mrs. Halverson, who came by every afternoon to drop off cookies, heard the noise and came to the door. She didn't get an answer. She called the police. By the time they arrived, Lena had taped my hands and was muttering to herself in the closet, telling the photo she found me and that we could all go back now. She didn't resist when they took her. I remember the ride to the hospital. I remember the stitches on my hand from where the scissors grazed me. I remember the way the officers looked at my mom when they explained everything. Lena wasn't Lena. Her real name was Celeste Morrow. She had been in and out of psychiatric care since the age of 12. Her real brother, the boy in the photo, had died in the fire she mentioned. Her mother had been charged with negligence but fled town before the trial. Celeste was placed in foster care and bounced between homes before getting removed from the system at 16 after aging out. The babysitter service? She'd faked her ID and used someone else's resume. It was a complete breakdown waiting to happen. She had fixated on me for whatever reason. Maybe because I looked like him. Maybe because I was convenient. Maybe because her mind had bent her grief into something that only made sense to her. She was committed after that. I never heard her name again. Until last week. My son is 10 now. His name is Jonah. He's quiet, likes video games and peanut butter sandwiches. Just like me. Our longtime sitter is going to college in the fall. My wife says we should look into a service, something vetted, professional. I keep telling her I'll work from home a few days a week, that maybe Jonah doesn't need someone watching him all the time, that maybe we should just wait. But she says we can't. So here I am, staring at the application form, fingers hovering over the keyboard, wondering how to protect a boy who still thinks monsters hide in closets. I know better. Sometimes they knock on the front door with a smile.